Okay, so we are very familiar with lists, and we must have used it many times. And let me create a simple example of a list. Let's say I have my favorite foods. I have them in a list. Favorite food. I have them in a list. Maybe I have yam. I have beans. I have um, maybe I have rice. And let me add one more. I just finished eating plantain. I have plantain. Now, this is an example of a list. And we know that a list is not, the element of a list is not restricted to a single data type. So you can have a mixture of data types in a list. That is, you may have something like, let's say, profile, and I have it to be maybe um, the matric number, then I have my name here, then let's say I now have my age here. Okay, so this is also a list, and the way we are used to it is if you want to maybe, okay, we can iterate over a list. Let's say we want to iterate, we want to get each of the elements. I can do something like this for I in let's say profile now, profile, and let's say maybe I want to print each of the elements in that list. I will do this and this will do that. So if I run this now, so we can see the output. So the way we are used to when we make use of list is to iterate over the list, and using for loop to iterate over the element of the list. So list comprehension came in because on the long run we begin to realize that some way of doing things in Python, they are not really that efficient. So there are some things we want to do that we don't need to iterate over them. It's just a single line, with just a single command. It's more efficient. It saves us more time. Now we can see, let's say, let me take for example, let's say I want to touch this up now. I can add to, let me say, let me use elf string. Um, okay, let me use I. So now if I run that again, okay, so we can see this now. So we see that this is an expression. As I'm iterating over each element in that list, I'm subjecting them to an expression. Now this comprehension comes into sense that when you want to construct a list, you want to construct a list. Take for example, the way we are used to, if you want to construct a list, let's say initially the way we are used to is when we first declare, maybe we want to create a list of odd numbers between 1 and 100. The way we are used to it is we maybe start with an empty list. Let me say even numbers. So we have an empty list. That's the way we are familiar with. We have it this way. Then we can now do for I in range 2 comma, let's say 200 with a step of 2. Then we can now say maybe even numbers dot append. So we are now appending each of the value into even numbers. Then when we are done, we can then say maybe we want to print even numbers itself, which is a list. How many of us are familiar with this code?
Yes, sir. Familiar with it, sir.
Okay. Now, so Mr. FM, are you familiar with the code in the second cell?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now all we want to do is we want to form a list of even numbers between 2 and 200. So this is the start, this is the end, and this is, so this is the usual way we are used to it. We are used to the fact that we use append to append some values to an existing list. Now, if I run this now, we have our output. We have our output. So we have our output. Fine, it came out well. But do you know that with just a single line, we can actually do this with just a single line. We can actually do this, and it's much more effective. So list comprehension give us the room of, with just a single line, of instruction, we can execute all that we have. Now if I want to do what we have up there, if I want to do what we have up there, this is what I'm going to do. Now I'll create, let me do for even number. So in this case now, say even number, that will be full. So even number. So I will still explain. So if I want to do this in list comprehension, this is where I will go about it. Let me say num for num in range 2,202, 2, then say print even number. Okay, let me print this. So as we can see, with just a single line, I just did the same thing. And if we are to track the time, this is faster than doing it this other way. Now, this is the syntax of list comprehension. Now, when you make use of list comprehension, it will definitely return a list. Let's take note of that. List comprehension gives you an end product of a list. Now, what happened here is what they call expression. So we may have some expressions we want to do, some things we want to do with each of the value in a list. Then with list comprehension, we don't need to iterate and do all that and form many lines. With just a single line, we can actually form that. And this is the syntax of list comprehension. We have it to be new list. That's the name of the list you are trying to form. Then you have the square bracket. Then this will be the expression. Then for, let me say for, let's say val, for each val in collection. So you can have it like that. And in case maybe there are some, maybe you want to subject it to a condition, like in this case now, I want to say, if maybe I want to, okay, I only want it to append those that are greater than 30. I can put a condition here, the which we are familiar with, of say maybe if I is greater than 30, then do this. That's when you should append it. Now if I run this again now, as you can see, it started from 32. Now this is a condition. So you can also bring in those conditions into your list comprehension. So this is case 1. You can have another case that look like this. Let me call this new list 1. New list 1. So you can have another case like this, that you are not just printing or iterating. You have a condition, you are subjecting it to a condition, but you have your expression first, then for val in collection, then thereafter will now be your test, the condition you are subjecting it to. Now let's try and rewrite this using using list comprehension. So let me insert a cell below this, and let's do that. So I will say even nose even nose 2, let me call it even nose 2 equals. So it's just that my expression will be each of the number. That's, I want to make a list just from those numbers that within that loop and they fulfill that condition. So for num in range 2, 202, 2. Out a step of 2. Now I can now put my condition in front of it. If norm is greater than 30. So when you are doing this now, so let me run it. Let me now also now print my print even nos 2. So when I run this, so as we can see, with just a single line, I was able to do what this is trying. This we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So with just 2 lines, I was able to print that. So you can see that this is another condition. This is a condition where you don't have a test in front of it. But this now you can even subject it to a test. You can even subject it to a test. And the condition does not necessarily have to be only one. You can have more than a condition. I can have it to be maybe if norm is greater than 30 and norm is also less than 100. So I can have it that way. Let me run this now. As you can see, it's only within that range. So with just that single line. And let's take for example, let me say for example now, and you know what we're only doing here is we're only appending each of the value to form a list. Now what if you want to perform some serious expressions, you want to perform some serious expressions on the values that actually pass that condition. So let's move on. Let's play more with this. Let's say maybe I want to okay, let me say even nos 3. Even nos 3 this is another case. Even nos 3, then maybe I want to divide any number that meets that condition by 3. So I will do each of the number divided by 3 for norm in, let's say, range. Let me start from 1 to 10. Okay, 1 to 10. Then if norm, let me say if norm is divisible by divisible by 3, if now divisible by 3 is equals to, let's say, 0. Now that means if I divide each of the number by 3, it will return 0 remainder. So what this will just do is the number loop we are familiar with, iterating over from 1 to 9. Then for the first time the norm will be 1, and it will subject 1 to this condition. 1 divided by 3 is the remainder equals to 0. If that's the case, then now come and do what we have here. So that's what I mean by saying we have expression by this side. So whatever manipulations you want to do before you form your list, they are always behind here. Then your condition here, then your for loop here. So let me run this now. Now let me print it out. Let me print even nos 3. So let me run this. So as you can see, so let's work together. The first one is 1. 1 will not meet this condition. 2 will not meet this condition. 3 does. So it will now go ahead and divide 3 by 3. And that gives us 1.0. Then the next one that we pass will also be 6. Divide 6 by 3, which is 2. And the other one that we pass is also 9, which is 3. So list comprehension makes work so easy for us. And just like I said, we can have mixture of data types on it. So let's play with more examples. Let's say I have list of favorite food, but I want to form a new list from that favorite food. I want to get the list of food that they actually start with Y. So let me say final favorite food. Okay, let me see my favorite food first. Favorite food equals. So I think I created a favorite food up here. Let me just copy that and let me put that here. So rice, beans, plantain. Let me have another food that okay. Mm, um, bread. Yeah, I'm looking for B. Bread. Then let's say banana. Banana is not. It's also a fruit. Just as a fruit. So now I want to form a new list from my favorite food. So let me call it final five foods. Okay. So now, how do I want to form it now? Let me see for each food now. So that will be for food in five foods. Now, what is my condition? Now, my condition is if each of the food does start with anyone that start with anyone that start with Y, anyone that start with no B, with B, anyone that starts with B. So that will form the list. So let me run that now. So let me now print my final five foods. So print my final five foods. So let me do that. So that we can see. So as we can see, I was able to form a new list from an existing list using a condition with just a single line. So that's the power of list comprehension. And it's very, very powerful, very, very fast than when you are trying to do for and you are trying to iterate over it. And it can be used for quite number of things. So the syntax is you have an expression here. Now let's take for example from the list, I don't just want to make a new list of the name of the food now, my favorite food now. Maybe I just want to make the list of the number of strings in each of the food. So I can just say length. That means I'm concerned about the length of each food that actually meet up with this condition. So what it will do is when you meet this condition, you will be subjected to this expression. So each of the food in the list subjected to this condition, when you meet this condition, you'll be subjected to this expression. So now let me run it again now and let's see. So as we can see, so the first one is beans. Beans has a length of 5. Next one is bread. Bread has a length of 5. The next one is banana. Banana has a length of 6. You see how fast and how easy it is for us to just quickly use this. So that's why with just a single line in Python, you will see powerful things being done. So let's do another example for today. I said we will only be touching list comprehension, but I was thinking those that were supposed to present today will present. And like I've threatened on the group, if nobody presents before Sunday, they will remove from the channel. So let's do the last case. Now there's another case. It's also possible that you may want to iterate over more than just a list. You may want to form a new list out of many existing collections. So another case is this. let me call it, I'm trying to create a new list, call new list 3, and this is the syntax. I have my expression here, should be my expression. Then for that is the first collection now, val1 in collection 1, then also for var2 in collection 2. Then you can end it there also, and you can also have your test there. We're going to have some couple of examples now for us to see and understand much more what I'm saying. So you can also have your test also to accompany it also. So let's create an instance. So we already have a list of favorite food here, and okay, let me create another list. Let me call it 8 foods. Don't mind my grammar. 8 foods. So let me call the first one spaghetti. Next one dodo. Next one pawpaw. Now let's say I want to form a new list from these two lists. So let me just also copy this down. Let me bring this down. Okay, so now I want to form a new list from this. So maybe the name of my new list is 8 fave foods. 8, I ate them, and they're also my favorite food. So maybe what I want to do is, I don't know yet. So let's do something with this. So we know the syntax, definitely there will be a list around it. So now my expression, I still don't know what we want to do yet, but let me just use five. Let me say 5,8 for now for 5,8 in okay, for 5 in 5 foods, and also for 8 in 8 foods. 8 foods. So what do I want to do? Let me say I want to add the two together. So my expression here is each favorite food should be added to, so the space. Okay, so let me do it this way. Let me have it this way. I love this. That's my expression. I love this, and I ate this. I ate that. Okay. So let's see what we have. So let me now print 8 5 food. Okay, let me pluralize it. 8 5 foods. Okay, so let me run this. Oh, there's a bug. Okay, I didn't append something here. Okay, didn't concatenate that rather. So let me run this. Oh, so you can see I love yam, I eat spaghetti. I love yam, I eat dodo. I love yam, I eat pawpaw. I love yam, I love beans, I eat spaghetti. Now, what this has actually done is what we call a nested loop. a nested loop. We are quite familiar with this now. If we want to write this using a nested loop, we'll have written it this way. We'll create an empty list that will call that name. Let me call it 2. So we don't know what will be there yet. That's the usual way we're familiar with it. Then let's say we have our list here. We have our list here. Then now, if we want to now do what this just did now, we'll have just do for maybe for 8. Is it 8 first? Okay. 5 first. Okay. For 5, we're running out of time. So when the session finishes, we can come in using the same link. So for 5 in 5 foods, then for 8 in 8 foods. So what we're trying to do is the expression we actually have here. So I can just copy that and just put that here. So what I will do is I'm trying to append this now. So I will now say my empty list dot append. Now what am I appending? I'm appending this. So I can now print this outside, print 8 for foods too. Okay, so if I run this now, I have the same output. So we can see the same output. Now, which of them is more effective? The list compression, of course. So list compression is quite powerful. We can do quite a lot. As long as it is, I can still put some conditions. So with just a single line, we can do quite a lot from list compression. And there's one last aspect I would like to touch before this section ends. So we'll use the second section to just attend to questions and for more clarifications. So I can actually imagine a scenario that I have. Let's take for example, I have let me call it STD profile, student profile, and it's actually a list, but it's a list of their name and their matric number. So it's a list containing tuples. So maybe Shola, and Shola's matric number is 4.67. Then the next element is also a tuple, Bingbe, and Bingbe is having 5.0, smart girl. Then I have another one, Shayo. Shayo is from a rich family, wasting his father's money, 2.3. Then I have the last one, Dupe. Dupe is also a student. So I have then Dupe is trying competing with Bimpe. Okay, so I have this list now, a list with the top now. I want to form a new list from this now. Maybe list of students in first class. So I can do that by saying maybe first class student, first class. So definitely I have my square bracket. So I will say now to be tuple also, I'm trying to form a list out of it. So it will be, let me say name, comma, CGPA. So for STD in ST, okay, let's see, for for name, comma, CGPA in STD profile. Now I now want to put my condition. If CGPA is greater than 4.5. So now as you can see now here, I'm trying to iterate over now. You can see I have two elements here because it is a tuple, and I'm trying to refer to the two elements in each of the student profile. So when I run this now, and let me print the new list I have from that. I have first class. Okay, so let me print that. So as you can see, yeah, I have only the first class student. So Sayo was wiped out. So you can see the power of this with just a single line. With just a single line, unable to do much. So I don't know if there's any question. Any question? So that's all want us to do today on this comprehension. So I don't know if there's any question. Any question from us?
So that start with is a very funny is it an English function?
Anyway,
Start with
yes, food is a string, so it's a function that accompanies any string. So when you have a string, you can actually subject that string to that condition, just to know if that string starts with a particular thing. There are many of them like that. I think there should be end with self.
wow. It looks very funny. That's why I was like, wow, start with.
Python is very powerful.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Is there any other question? Mr. FM, any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so we understand the power of list comprehension.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
So we can begin to employ list comprehension to help us write smart applications like just fast. We attend to things that will stress ourselves, creating for loop, and list is going to attend to that. So we'll call it a day here for tonight. So we actually planned for list comprehension, and I believe we've had better understanding of it. So thank God we have a smooth class today, no network issue and clear. So I will straight away be uploading it to the YouTube channel, and we can also check it on that platform also. So I want to appreciate us for making it for the class. So thank you so much. So we'll see you on
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, sir.